This is a super traditional Jamaican dish, extremely flavorful, rich and creamy. This is one of those dishes that come with a lot of nostalgia. I remember my granny juicing coconut for this. And I'm going to show you how I make it to get those classic flavors. Wagwan squad, we have enough niceness today, so we're just gonna jump right in. One of the great things about this recipe is that it uses all fresh ingredients. I'm going to start with the main ingredient, saltfish. I need to remove the excess salt. There are a number of ways to do this, but the quickest way is to simmer this in a generous amount of water. So that's what we're going to do. Before I simmer, I'm going to give this a proper rinse to remove the free salt still on the outside. A rundown is a Jamaican stew made by reducing coconut milk and adding fish and vegetables. Vegetable rundown tastes great, but saltfish and salt mackerel are the two most popular ingredients used. Just I'm gonna place that on and reduce the heat to medium. Alright, so while that's going, we can prep the coconut. A really mature coconut is usually greater than juice, but I'm using a softer coconut. This doesn't have the same oil content, but is much creamier than a fully mature one. Usually when the coconut is not fully mature, it's harder to deal with, but this one isn't too bad. I actually do save the coconut water. The coconut in that gizzard video was way too mature, so the water was rancid, so stop come after me. You could save time and use canned coconut milk and get something that tastes great, but it doesn't even come close to processing fresh coconut. The flavors are way more dynamic. So if you have the time to get a nice dried coconut, blend, grate or juice it. I ended up using 2 coconuts. I'm going to use my juice as I expect only a little bit of highly concentrated cream. I always use something blunt like a spoon to remove the flesh. You can easily injure yourself with anything sharper. Nice, this is perfect for making drops. I have to go make some drops soon. Alright, juicing time. I won't get a lot of juice with the juicer, but it will be extremely concentrated, so I don't have to do too much reducing later. That's rich. You could always grate and juice like grandma or blend and juice, but my favorite kind of hassle is to just juice it. Plus, you end up with fine pulp that you can use for grate a cake or dehydrate for coconut flour or just chicken feed. Tell me in the comments what you do with your coconut pulp. Alright, saltfish has been simmering for about 10 minutes, should be ready now. We want to remove salt, but we still want it slightly salty. I'm not adding salt again, plus saltfish that doesn't taste slightly salty isn't really enjoyable. Just throw off the water and do a little taste test. Still a bit too salty, so I'm going to add back some cold water and let it sit for about 5 minutes or so. It's much easier to remove the salt after we simmer it. Alright, 5 minutes. That's good now. Not overly salty, but still enough salt to flavor the rundown and still have that satisfying saltiness that saltfish should have. This can be a little tricky to get right. Next I'm going to just clean up this. I don't want skin, bones, fins or any hard bits that are a pain to eat or even taste disgusting. Cooked saltfish is easier to clean underwater, but the salt level is perfect, so I'm not going to mess with that. I like to leave this chunky because as it cooks it will flake, but if you're into fish mince, do you. Alright, that's done. Let's get our veggies together. Everything I prep will go on this plate, so handling later is easier. I'm gonna use half a sweet pepper. Remove the seeds and julienne. I like to add sweet pepper late whenever I'm cooking. It performs best at the end. 1 whole medium onion, going to julienne this too. This knife is so sharp it's kinda scary. The thing about using a sharp knife to cut onion is you won't cry. One plum tomato. This is ripe but still firm. Just going to dice this. Tomato adds a little bit of acidity to the rundown. Okra. Okra, fish and coconut works really well. Just going to slice these. Yeah, these are kind of old. Notice the seeds turning black. Still have a couple good ones though. Of course, some sliced kachi. The dynamic flavor adds so much to the rundown. Scallion, just chopping these up. About 4 cloves of garlic for depth of flavor. Nicely chopped. I have these ingredients separated because I'm going to saute them first to build maximum flavor. I also want some fresh thyme. Dried pimento. Amata works really well. I like freshly ground pimento because as soon as you grind it, it starts losing flavor. That's good. Try not to skip pimento in rundown. It's great. Prepping is pretty much done. I almost forgot the carrot. Some nice julienne works well for this too. So this is another thing you can do with the coconut pulp. Coconut dumpling. I need about 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm not making a lot of dumplings. I'm eyeballing it, but this is pretty close to 1 cup of coconut pulp. Salt to taste. Toss everything before you add water. Always add a little at a time. Although I got the amount just right in one go, like a boss. Next, just knead until the flour is fully hydrated and maybe a little bit more to develop gluten so it's easier to work with. I only found out after making this that it was actually a thing. I really thought I was being original. I can do a lot of things really well, but I don't think shaping boiled dumpling is one of them. I really like seeing neat, sexy looking dumplings. Mine always fall short, but they make up for it in taste and texture though. Sprinkle over a little bit of flour to stop them from sticking. Alright, good. Next up, let's peel some green banana. I like my cutting board more than the kitchen tool, so that's okay. Green banana are relatively easy to peel if you don't put them in the fridge. Boiled green bananas pair perfectly with rundown. These look really soft, so I'm looking forward to this. If you've been having problems with peeling green banana, it's probably because you're not slicing this on the outside curve. It's a headache when you slice the inside curve. Use a gloves or put a bit of oil on your hand when peeling banana to avoid any staining. It's a pain to remove. Placing banana in water stops them from oxidizing and turning black. Alright, I'm also going to cook a piece of yellow yam. This is the softer variety. Yam contains a lot of micronutrients as well as being high in fiber. It's also high in carbohydrates, but it's one of the best ways to get carbs. I'm just peeling and slicing this. You might notice that I didn't wash the yam before peeling. That's not worth the hassle. It's much easier and less messy to peel and then wash. Yam, just like green banana, also will oxidize, so placing them in water after you peel them helps with that. Alright, let's give this a proper wash to remove any dirt and the excess starch on the outside of the yam. So we need a pot with enough water to cover all the dumpling, yam and banana. I'm making sure I season properly with salt. Just leave that on medium heat until it reaches a rolling boil. We're placing in the dumplings first because we don't have to worry about overcooking dumplings. This is the first time I'm making coconut dumplings with the pulp. From time to time I like to add a starchy vegetable to boiled dumplings. I really like banana dumplings, but pumpkin and carrot dumplings are up there too. Add the green banana next. Typically I add this last, but these bananas are hard enough to hold up. Finally add the yam. All these will finish cooking at roughly the same time, so we don't have to worry too much. Next, cover the pot and give it a couple minutes. The pot has to be stirred so nothing sticks to the bottom, especially the dumpling. I had to let the dumpling start to set up before stirring, otherwise they would get smashed. Next, just cover that. This might take about 10 minutes to cook, but I'm checking and stirring to make sure nothing sticks or overcooked. The dumplings are ready though. I haven't had this in the longest while, and this is a nice opportunity to test the coconut dumplings. Dumpling and butter to most Jamaicans is known as a struggle food because it was extremely cheap to make, but that doesn't change how satisfying this is. Yeah, that's so good. I was expecting something trashy and fibrous, but the coconut is really soft and adds some nutty sweetness to the dumpling. Wow, never did I expect that. This is actual butter, but a lot of what I had growing up was margarine. A lot of people still call margarine butter and don't make the distinction. Either way, this is great. I'm gonna grab a next one. It doesn't taste the exact same way, but it's giving me the same vibe. This nice bud. Alright, this looks ready. Whenever the fork slides in easily into the yam and banana, you know they are good. Just gotta set that aside. Yush, we're almost there. So this is about half the coconut cream we made earlier, and we are going to reduce it on medium-low heat. It's already pretty concentrated, so this will go quick. Usually the coconut cream will begin to turn into oil when it's reduced enough, but this coconut wasn't mature enough to give us much oil, so I added a splash of coconut oil. This smells like my grandma's kitchen. Rundown over wood fire is something else. Next, I'm adding the chopped garlic, scotchy, scallion and thyme. These will saute a bit to get some flavors going. Burning is bad, but having stuff stick and brown is actually good for rundown. Next, add about 2 teaspoons of the pimento. Perfect. Sliced onions going next. I just want to sweat them a bit in the coconut oil. Saltfish, tomato, and carrot. Give that a quick saute while ensuring nothing burns, because this will burn if you're not careful. Next, add the sweet pepper. Give that another quick saute. Next, add the other half of the coconut cream. I added half cup water to thin it out a bit so I can have a bit of sauce. This smells divine. All the flavors are coming together. Almost done, but I need to cook the raw coconut milk for about 5 minutes to develop the flavors more. Finally, add the okra. I don't like okra slime, so I add it right at the end. This is basically done, but first I'm going to do a taste test to make sure. Get piece of that saltfish. That's perfect. Just need a bit of black pepper. The salt level is just right, rich, creamy, a lot of sweetness from the coconut, tons of texture from not overcooking anything. Beautiful. Yeah, this is a food that we make a dance. One more thing, real quick. Fried plantain goes well with anything, but I definitely want some here. I'm going to cut these really thick because the plantain is very ripe. Fry these over medium heat. Ripe plantains have a really high sugar content, so these burn easily. You can't trust them. Never turn your back on ripe plantain. As soon as your back is turned, they burn, so watch them carefully till they finish frying. Perfectly fried plantain. Drain them properly on paper towel to remove the excess oil. These look really good. Alright, let's go. Most people not familiar with Jamaican food would not believe this is usually for breakfast because this is heavy, a lot of starches and really filling, when breakfast is typically on the lighter side. Yeah, Jamaican breakfast usually loaded still, because I can think of adding 3 more sides and it wouldn't even look no way. Other than that delicious rundown, this gets better the longer it sits. Fresh coconut does that to food. That's probably why Sunday Monday tastes so good. We can finally add the fried ripe plantain. Everything is still really hot. Alright, that's it. One healthy plate of authentic saltfish rundown. Coconut dumpling, soft yellow yam and some tender boiled banana and fried plantain. Alright, let's try everything together. Coconut dumpling have my heart away. I love this. You can see the bits of coconut and it's still not fibrous. Nice. This is rundown. Want to see how it tastes with the dumpling? Yeah, that's a delicious bite. Please add rundown to the recipe book squad. Oh, and by the way, I have a Patreon. It's still under construction, but if you want to support my work for some extra perks, you can check that out. Coconut water must cool by now. I'm going to enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one.